Hi! I am Teacher Jovane, your mathematics buddy, and I'm here to help you make mathematics fun and exciting. Come and let us explore the world of quadratic equation. Get your module, paper and pen, because these are necessary as you go through the lesson. In your previous lesson, you have learned about the two methods in solving quadratic equations, such as extracting the square roots and factoring. And I expected that you already mastered solving quadratic equations by these two methods. Today, we will discuss about the two additional methods in solving quadratic equation. And these are completing the square method and quadratic formula. For this lesson, you are expected to first, solve quadratic equations by completing the square. And second, solve quadratic equations using quadratic formula. Let us see if you already have knowledge about solving quadratic equations by completing the squares by this activity. What I know. Arrange the jumbled steps of solving quadratic equation by completing the square on column A. Write the letter of the correct procedure on the space provided on column B. The simplest method to solve quadratic equations is by extracting the square roots of the equation. However, we can only use the extracting square root method if and only if the quadratic equations are in the form ax squared is equal to c and ax plus c squared is equal to b, where a, c, and d are real numbers, and a is not equal to 0. Thus, we cannot use extracting the square roots method if the equations is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, wherein there is a linear term. If the equation is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0 and is factorable, then we can solve the equation by factoring method. However, there are quadratic equations that is neither on the form ax squared is equal to c nor factorable. In this kind of quadratic equation, we need to use another method, which is the completing the square method. What's in? Let us check your knowledge that will help you in this lesson by answering this activity. Activity 1. Find my solution. Complete the following perfect square trinomials by filling in the correct term on the space provided. The first problem is done as your guide. Number 1. X squared minus 10x plus blank. Solution. Get the numerical coefficient of x, which is 10, and divide it by 2. This results to 5. Then squared 5, which is equivalent to 25. The answer is 25. Therefore, the perfect square trinomial on problem number 1 is x squared minus 10x plus 25 is equal to 0. What's new? Activity 2. Be a hero. During this time of COVID-19 pandemic, a group of health workers disinfect a rectangular area in the barangay. However, the group did not finish the whole vicinity. They want to know the dimension of the whole area for them to calculate the needed people and materials to be used. Help them by computing the length and width of the rectangular place. The area of the place where already had been disinfected is 64 meters squared. The white is the unfinished area of disinfection. These are the guide questions. Number 1. What is the length of the entire place? Number 2. What is the width of the entire place? Number 3. What is the area of the whole place? When the given equations can be solved in either extracting square roots or factoring, use either of the two methods. However, if the equations cannot be solved using the two upper-mentioned methods, then it is time to use the method of completing the squares. There are 7 steps in solving quadratic equations by completing the squares, and here are the steps. Step 1. If a is greater than 1, divide both sides of the equation by a, then simplify. Step 2. Write the equation such that the terms with variables are on the left side and the constant term on the right side of the equation. Step 3. Add b over 2 squared to both sides of the equation. The left side of the equation becomes a perfect square trinomial. Step 4. Express the perfect square trinomial on the left side of the equation as a square of a binomial. Step 5. Solve the resulting quadratic equation by extracting the square root. Step 6. Separate the negative and positive results and solve the resulting linear equations. And step 7. Check the solutions obtained using the original equation. To apply these steps, let us have this example. Solve the quadratic equation 4x squared minus 32x plus 28 is equal to 0 by completing the squares. Step 1. If a is greater than 1, divide both sides of the equation by a, then simplify. In the example, the given is 4x squared minus 32x plus 28 is equal to 0. Since a is equal to 4 and is greater than 1, we need to divide 4 in each terms of the equation. 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1x squared minus 32 divided by 4 is equal to 8x plus 28 divided by 4 is equal to 7. And 0 divided by 4 is equal to 0. Now, the simplest form of the equation is x squared minus 8x plus 7 is equal to 0. When the value of a becomes equal to 1, then we can now proceed on the next step. Step 2. Write the equation such that the terms with variables are on the left side of the equation and the constant term is on the right side. Let us apply the subtraction property of equality by subtracting 7 on both sides of the equation. X squared minus 8x plus 7 minus 7 is equal to 0 minus 7. Since 7 minus 7 is equal to 0, the remaining terms on the left side of the equation will be x squared minus 8x. And on the right side of the equation will be 0 minus 7 is equal to negative 7. As you can see, the terms with variables are now on the left side of the equation and the constant term is on the right side of the equation. Step 3. Add b over 2 squared to both sides of the equation. The left side of the equation becomes a perfect square trinomials. To get the value of b over 2 squared, get the value of b and disregard the sign of b. Since b is equal to 8, b over 2 squared is equal to 8 divided by 2 squared. 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. Squared. 4 squared is equal to 16. Therefore, the value of b over 2 squared is equal to 16. Add 16 to both sides of the equation. X squared minus 8x plus 16 is equal to negative 7 plus 16. Then simplify the right side of the equation. X squared minus 8x plus 16 is equal to negative 7 plus 16 is equal to 9. As you can see, the left side of the equation becomes a perfect square trinomial. Step 4. Express the perfect square trinomial on the left side of the equation as a square of a binomial. Since the left side of the equation is a perfect square trinomial, let us express it as a square of a binomial. To express a perfect square trinomial as a square of a binomial, we need to get the square root of the first term and the square root of the constant term. Square root of x squared is equal to x. Square root of 16 is equal to 4. Then copy the sign of the middle term, which is minus. Then square. Now, the resulting quadratic equation will be x minus 4 squared is equal to 9. Step 5. Solve the resulting quadratic equation by extracting square root. Solve the resulting quadratic equation x minus 4 squared is equals to 9 by extracting the square. Since it is in the form ax plus c squared is equals to d, get the square root of both sides of the equation to eliminate the square. Square root of x minus 4 squared is equal to x minus 4. And the square root of 9 is equal to positive and negative 3. Now, we have a resulting linear equation. X minus 4 is equal to positive and negative 3. Step 6. Separate the positive and negative results and solve the resulting linear equations. From x minus 4 is equals to positive or negative 3. Separate the positive and negative results, which are x minus 4 is equals to positive 3 and x minus 4 is equals to negative 3, and solve the resulting linear equations. Let us solve x minus 4 is equals to positive 3 first. Apply the addition property of equality by adding 4 to both sides of the equation. X minus 4 plus 4 is equal to 3 plus 4. Since negative 4 plus 4 is equal to 0, the remaining term will be x. 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So the value of x is equal to 7. How about the other one? X minus 4 is equals to negative 3. Apply addition property of equality by adding 4 to both sides. X minus 4 plus 4 is equal to negative 3 plus 4. Since negative 4 plus 4 is equal to 0, the remaining term on the left side of the equation will be x. And on the right side of the equation, negative 3 plus 4 is equal to 1. The value of x is equal to 1. Therefore, the solutions are 7 or 1. Step 7. Check the solutions obtained using the original equation. Let us check if 7 or 1 are the true solutions of the quadratic equation 4x squared minus 32x plus 28 is equal to 0. If x is equal to 7, substituting it to the original equation 4x squared minus 32x plus 28 is equal to 0. 4 times 7 squared minus 32 times 7 plus 28 is equal to 0. Simplify the equation. 7 squared times 4 is equal to 196. Minus 32 times 7 is equal to 224. Plus 28 is equal to 0. 196 minus 224 plus 28 is equal to 0. As we can see, x is equal to 7 is one of the solution of the quadratic equation 4x squared minus 32x plus 28 is equal to 0. How about x is equal to 1? Substituting it from the original equation 4x squared minus 32x plus 28 is equal to 0. 4 times 1 squared minus 32 times 1 plus 28 is equal to 0. Simplifying the equation, 4 times 1 squared is equal to 4. Minus 32 times 1 is equal to 32. Plus 28 is equal to 0. 4 minus 32 plus 28 is equal to 0. Therefore, x is equal to 1 is also a solution of the original equation 4x squared minus 32x plus 28 is equal to 0. And that is how you solve quadratic equation by completing the square. And now, to apply what you have learned, let us do the following activities. What's more? Activity 3, complete me. Solve the following quadratic equations by completing the square. Write your answers after each equation. You may use another sheet of paper for your solution. What I have learned. Activity 4, talk to me. Complete the following sentences. Number 1. The 3 methods of solving quadratic equations are. Number 2. In this module, I have learned how. Number 3. I can explain the steps in solving quadratic equations by completing the square. First, what I can do. Activity 5, be an architect. Supposedly, you have a rectangular house. As an aspirant architect, you want to be the one to design your house. The total area of the house is 165 meters squared. Do the following task based on the given scenario. Number 1. Sketch a front view of your house. Number 2. Sketch a floor plan of your house. Make sure to have a measurement for all sides. Number 3. Formulate a quadratic equation of your house. Use this rubric to guide you in this activity. Assessment. Let us assess your learning in this lesson by answering these activities. Direction. Solve the following quadratic equations. Use completing the square method for number 1 to 7 to solve the given equations. Write your solutions on a separate sheet of paper. Additional activities. Measure your home. Measure the dimensions, width and length of your house and make a sketch of its floor plan. Include the rooms, kitchen, and other division in your home. Compute the area of your home and make a quadratic equations with respect to its height and width based on your floor sketch. Example is provided for your guide. And that concludes our lesson for today. See you again in our next lesson. I am Teacher Jovane del Rosario, and please bear in mind that mathematics is fun and easy. Bye-bye!